as you may know, I have just opened the Cozy community, and you will see in the common room there is a link to join us in there. But here's the group here. We're at 68 members as of this moment, which is very exciting. And a lot of the questions coming in for the intake questions, I have a couple of questions when people join the group for them to answer. Such a great way to get an insight into where your people are at and what they're looking for in your group. Helps to create content ideas and also just to gauge where the group is at collectively. So I highly recommend that if you have a community that gives you the option to do that. And also one of the main things is people are really deciding between, should I have a free group? Should I have a paid group? How do I decide? Where does my kind of community fit in my business? And this is something that is so important. This is from module 2 in the Cozy Community course, and it is really sitting down and thinking about where your community is going to fit in your customer journey. So if you're familiar with the customer journey, you might have seen it as a kind of funnel, the funnel journey. I should have made a little graphic for this, but I didn't. And you have kind of your top of funnel, which is the biggest section of the funnel, are your people who do not know you yet. They have only come across you maybe from social media or through an ad. They don't know you. They don't know if they can trust you yet, if you can help them. And that is kind of your biggest chunk of people. Then you have middle of funnel, which are people who have maybe bought a low ticket offer from you. They're on your email list. They're kind of in that middle section, but they haven't taken that next step. And then the bottom of funnel is your people who are in your higher priced programs. They know you very well, and they really love your work, and they understand your mission and your vision and things like that. So this is something that I have noticed that people are not thinking about when they're creating their community. And it's something that in deciding to open a free community, I just talked about this in the podcast this week, that we need to think about where our community falls, and if we're going to have multiple groups and programs and containers, how that works within the bigger offer suite. So I wanted to share this little graphic with you, or this slide from the course, because this is really important for helping you to know for yourself where in the journey someone will fall, and also helping to create a bit of decision-making process for, is this the right next step for me? And so I just went through this in the last week, and I wanted to share it a little bit with you. And so I'm not going to go into too much detail around this, but essentially, if you think about it, it is not our choice to decide whether somebody comes through our entire customer journey. I always draw it as a straight line of, someone enters through a free offer or via our email list, our free content, whatever that might be. And the end of journey being, that bottom of funnel, the people who have signed up to our high-end high-priced or high-end program, done for you, one-on-one, mastermind, whatever that might be. The thing is that we can think about it as a linear journey, and we need to, but most people are not going to walk that entire path. And that is not our responsibility. There will be people who come in at the start, they sign up for a free thing, and they stay on our list, and they never move from there. And there will probably be people here who have experienced this. I certainly have had people who I have no idea who they are. They discovered me on one platform or in a group or something, and they've gone straight from not knowing me to signing up to work with me one-on-one. So there are going to be people who come in at all different points on that customer journey. And again, we're thinking of it linearly, but we're not expecting anyone to necessarily walk that straight path, because that is not how humans work. Even the funnel concept of, top of funnel, middle funnel, bottom funnel, that is an kind of becoming an outdated process, because that is just not the way that human behavior necessarily works these days. So with all of that being said, it is important for us to have a journey, for us to know what that journey looks like and what we are creating, sharing, and offering at different points along that journey. So I hope that makes sense. We need to know it so that we can act as essentially a tour guide, and we are always directing people to what might be the next best step for them. And if we don't have clarity around what that journey looks like, that is where people get confused. They're not sure. It is going to be a work in progress, especially if we have transitions in our business. But that is our job, to basically just be directing people to free content, to YouTube videos, our long form content, our pillar content, our low ticket offers, our next step offers. And having a clue or a clear idea of what that journey is absolutely our responsibility, so that at any point in time, we can direct people in that way. So I'm just going to run through these really quickly. Like I said, this is from the Cozy Community course that we just finished up the live round of. And your top of funnel, really easy concept, most people have had at some point one of these communities, is your free community. This is based around your audience growth. This is going to be people who are coming into your world because they are interested in the thing that you are teaching. They are interested in the transformation that you are offering. They most likely don't know who you are yet, and so they're not making a decision based on who you are or anything about you. They are making a decision based on, this is the thing that I need help with right now, or this is something that I'm interested in learning about. So that is where the free community is really good, especially if you're just starting out. It's a great way to bring people together into a container. That means that you are going to show them why they can trust you. You are going to show them how you're an expert in what you do, and do it within the confines of some kind of container. So whether that is a Facebook group, a Skool community, even your email community. The thing with that is it is very much more of a broadcast space, but you can find that you get a bit of one-on-one back and forth with people over time if you encourage that kind of engagement. And it's a really great opportunity for you to bring people in and then create a culture in there. And then what your responsibility is, what your job is to show them what their pathway is, if they're ready for the next thing. Because what will happen is there, yes, will always be people who join our free thing and never move beyond that. But at some point, a percentage of people are going to kind of outgrow your free content. And it is your job to make sure they always know what that next step is, whether they take it or not. So that is something to really think about. Obviously, the same kind of applies for your front end low ticket membership option. And I know a lot of people are really into this idea. It is basically an SLO, so it is still a free community, but you use the payment that comes out to pay for your ads to grow faster. And also when people, there's something to be said for the fact that when people are paying for something, they are more likely going to invest in it, take action, all of those sorts of things. I personally shut down my low ticket memberships because I did not find that to be the case. If it's under $10, it is very easy for people to not take action. And it was so funny. I've just been kind of reviewing this week the difference between having my Cozy Community Hub, which was my $7 a month membership. I closed that to new members at the start of the year and relaunched this exact program as a one-time payment live implementation round. And the difference between how many people created communities and were engaged in that 6 weeks versus how much people were engaged and took action from the year that I had that membership open is like complete opposites. So it's always worth testing and trying things and knowing that at any point in time, you may change the container itself, the model that you are focused on. Then we have the core membership, the paid offer. This is, for example, for those of you who are watching this in the common room, that is essentially, it is a core membership. It is a main offer, or it is, the entry point offer that is kind of bringing most of your people together. It is your main focus. It is where you have your core framework, your core transformation inside of there. And then, of course, we have things like a back-end membership. So perhaps that is something that Stu McLaren is somebody who has this. He actually teaches about memberships, and he has a 6-week program on the front end, and you can only get an invitation to join his membership once you've been through that program. So that is an example of what a back-end membership is. People sign up for something first, and then they get an invitation to come and join the membership. These are going to be your more bottom of funnel people. So these are people who know you, they've had an experience with you, they've already signed up for something and gotten a result. You don't need to do so much work around showing people what this is, how they're going to benefit from it, what they're going to get out of it, because they already trust you. That doesn't mean you don't have to have that. You absolutely do. But it means that you just don't have to do as much work on the front end. You are not going to be necessarily running ads to your, at all, running ads to your back end membership or community. You are not going to be selling that to a cold audience, people who don't know who you are. And then there's just a couple of other ones at the bottom here, your client and customer community, which is if you maybe have a lot of digital products that you sell, or you have different programs and you want to bring everyone in together to one space where they can ask questions, they can share things, they can be a part of your community, but they are, again, people who have purchased something from you. So again, it's more of a back end offer. And then your pop-up group, which is a temporary or seasonal container. So you may have a community space to run a live program, but it is only available for that time. You could have a 3-day challenge that you're running and you open a group up for people to come in that time, and then it closes down and they get an invitation to join your next space or another part of that. So I really wanted to just go through that today, because I know that a lot of people are trying to decide, do I do free? Do I do, low ticket? What do I do in terms of what I'm charging? And hopefully this just helps you to think about not that question, because that question is actually the wrong question. The question is, what is the purpose of this group? Why am I opening it? And where does it fit in my customer journey? And how does it make sense with the rest of my offer suite? So to give you a real life example, the Cozy Community, the new group that I have just opened, let me just come over here, is exactly this. It is the front end audience growing free community. It is, as I've said, a experiment for the next 90 days. I'm going to make a decision at the end of that time. I'm going to see what happens. And the purpose of this group is a number of different things. One is that I know a lot of people are thinking about starting communities and they're overwhelmed. There is a lot of noise out there. The groups on Skool in particular that are about community building are very big and can be quite overwhelming. I know there's people who want to find different ways to grow their community and focus on a cozy community, 1,000 true fans versus having, thousands and thousands of people. And so that is one part of it. The other is that the Cozy Community course that has been through a couple of iterations now is something that I care so much about. Community is one of the Cozy Business pillars for a reason. And I didn't want this to be something I created that just sat in the common room classroom and nothing happened with. So there is not a pressure to join the program if you come into the free group, but there is an invitation. As I said, this is your next step should you want to take it, to dive more into the content and the full program by coming and joining the course. And you can grab that straight from the community. This is my favorite thing about Skool. Whoops, sorry. I hit stop share instead of change tab. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm hitting all the wrong buttons. So it is in here, and you can't see this because this is the admin version, but it is in here as a paid offer for people who want to take that next step. And also it is an entry point to, this is what you can expect when you come into my paid membership. And so that is to help people get familiar with Skool, see if they like it, see if they want to spend time here, see what I'm about and my Cozy Business framework. one part of it, just one phase, one section of the Cozy Business Framework, and then decide, do I want to learn the rest? Do I want to be part of the common room for that? So it kind of has a few different functions. I wanted to share that with you. For those of you who are in the common room and are wondering, like, why, how is this different? What does this mean? And also so that you can see a real life example of what you can do when you're creating your communities. We want to focus on one, audience growth. If you're going to have multiple communities, an audience growth community and a paid or back end community, and not try and muddy the waters too much by having multiple groups that are the same price point or that are all free, because you want to have a really clear path for people so they can see, okay, well, what's the difference between the free group and the paid group? What's the difference between, the price point being a big part of it? And when we've got like two free groups, or we've got a free group and a, $1 a month group or a $5 a month group, it gets very confusing because essentially they are both audience growing offers. So I hope that kind of gives you a bit of context. The free community is your entry point. It is basically now my freebie. I have been running ads to a free workshop all year, and now basically the free community is taking the place of that. It is my new lead magnet. And again, just an experiment. And then there is going to be an invitation to join the common room for people who don't just want to focus on getting their cozy community up and running and the foundation of that, but actually want to, I guess, cozify the rest of their business as well. So it's like, here's a little taste tester. Community is super important, especially here on Skool, where the group has just, or the people who are building communities on Skool has gone up like 130,000 people this week because of Hormozi. And that is just such a great experiment for me to try. And that is what we're doing here. So please have a think about it. If you're thinking about a community, where does it fit on your offer suite or your client journey? And that is going to help you to decide, do I want to run ads? Am I going to put this as a mini membership, or am I going to have a free community because I want people to come in, see what I'm about, and then I have other offers available for them as the next steps, because that is actually my focus, not focusing on growing, this small paid community. There are no right or wrong choices. People have had success doing all of those things. You just need to decide what's right for you. And again, how it fits in with the rest of your business, with the rest of your offer suites, and with your client journey that you're inviting people on. So I hope that makes sense. Please let me know if you have any questions about this. This is something I love talking about and I'm really passionate about. And also, it's just so important to stop and think, because I know that it can be like, oh, I've got this idea, set up a community. And this is taking that one little step back to think big picture about it, because it can be a lot of energy to hold space in a separate container as well. All right, so that is what I wanted to talk about. I hope that gives you some context for the cozy community, why it exists, why I created it, and also if it's right for you. Because what we're doing in there is we're going to be experimenting. We're going to be sharing what it is that we are experimenting with. It is not a group to show up as an expert. It is not a group that is just come in, drop some promo links and bounce. In fact, links are not allowed in the group outside of the promotion threads. And that is intentional. It is intentional so that people show up as experimenters and they share with us what they're trying, so that we can create a community of, there are so many different ways to build, launch, monetize, and engage your community. And you just need to pick one path and try it for 30 to 90 days, see what happens, and then decide what your next step is from there. And also, because I want people to do things like optimize their bios, so that when people see them and discover them, they go, oh, this person's really interesting. And you've got your bio there with all your links in it. So you don't need to be dropping links in the group. We don't want to create kind of a spammy promo space. It is really about the experimenting and the community growing and what we're doing in there. So hopefully that gives you a bit of context. If you're in the original Cozy Community program, or membership, and you're one of the founders, basically one of the founding members, you have access to that in the common room. It is also in the free group as well, just to make it easy for whichever group you prefer to be in. You're going to be able to access that ongoing. And if you have any questions about that, please let me know.